Okay, well, on the field for the Cult of War team, we are fielding 2 Golems, 2 Widows, a Vulture, and then we have a Catalyst, Cormorant, Thrasher, and Thrasher. So going very heavy on the Marauder and Black Ops, with some DPS provided by the Destroyers. And for the Ivy League team, we've got Raven, Vulture, Drake, Coercer, 2 carries, and 2 Kitsune. And it looks like the match is underway. I can already see people moving, just waiting for the missile spam here. And we are getting missile spam.
Am I back? I think I'm back. So we've got the Kitsune now taking quite a bit of damage, as well as one of the Thrashers. Lots of small ships in this matchup, a little bit unique from what we've seen so far.
And Ivy looks like it's about to lose its first Kitsune as it goes deep into hull. Meanwhile, the Cult of War teams, we've got a Thrasher also deep into hull. I'm sorry, deep into armor.
Yeah, well, he's about to be deep into hull in here in just a second, and that Kitsune is down. Now we've got a Coercer going down. It's going to be very interesting because all of these ships are going to take, they don't take much damage to be popped by any means. The other thing that I find very interesting here is 2 Widows. I don't know if we saw any Black Ops at all during the last tournament. Now we've got 2 in the same match.
Well, they do get Tech 2 resist, which makes for a much heavier tank, and they also still get the ECM bonuses. Now, what I also find interesting is the Widows and the Golems are remote energy transferring like crazy. So they're going to be relying on each other for cap and to keep their personal tanks running. And again, both having the Golems and the Widows having Tech 2 tanks, this could be a hard match for the Ivy League team.
No, I think that's very fair to say. Golems are going to be pretty hard to take down. We've got both Kiris now have taken quite a bit of damage for Ivy League. One's completely out of shields, the other one almost completely out of armor, and you know, that E-War could be making quite a difference on the Golems and the Widows here. Could be significantly cutting down the damage that those Ravens are taking.
And we've just lost one of the last destroyers for Cult of War. They're down to a single catalyst. Pretty much all the small ships getting popped. The carries, though, on both carries on the Ivy League team, getting shield reps from drones, and both still alive, just barely. We'll see whether or not they can stay that way as one of the carries drops. Nope, there it goes, popped. 1 carries left, 1 catalyst left for small ships. Otherwise, Cult of War still fielding 2 Golems, 2 Widows, and a Vulture.
Yeah, and that second carries was taking some healing from shield bots, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold on.
No, he's already starting to dip back into structure, and back shields are gone, low structure, shields are back up. Man, he's getting a lot of quick reps, and that carries is down. So we're down to nothing but big ships. Ivy League still fielding 2 Ravens, a Vulture, and 2 Drakes. The missile spammage continues, and I'm basically just waiting to see who primaries who now.
Yeah, and it looks like Cult of War still has both Golems, both Widows, and their Vulture. That's going to be a lot of shield hit points to have to go through. And like you said, if there's energy transfers going back and forth, those Golems are probably going to be active tanked, especially since they can carry so many cap charges. This could be a while because there's a lot of big tanks out there right now.
I do see quite a few shield rep drones on. It looks like the Vulture for the Ivy League team, although targets seem to have switched to one of the Ravens. Don't see any energy transfers going on, so it looks like they're relying on their local tanks and their local cap boosters to keep these things alive as that Raven Silent Brick dips into half shields.
Yeah, and the Vulture for Cult of War was taking a bit of a beating there, but he seems to have pulled back and is now almost fully repped again. So this could be the turn. Whoever loses a ship here basically is going to lose the threshold on DPS and probably lose the match, and it looks like it's going to be that Ivy League Raven that goes down first. Okay, I don't...
Sorry about that. Looks like we are getting some energy transfers to that Vulture, and it is locally tanking. It is being target painted by Ivy League, even as Silent Brick drops right to the cusp of taking armor damage, and there he goes, his first little bit of armor damage, and as all Caldari ships do, he is dropping very, very quickly. Can he pull himself back? Doesn't look like
so. No, he's got shield bots on him, but it's just not going to be enough. I mean, the golems don't necessarily put out any more damage than a Raven, but I mean, when you get 2 of them along with the damage from 2 other battleships, it's going to be too much for a tank like that to take one-on-one. I think I'm a little surprised how well the Black Ops are doing in this one.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing very well. I have to say the Ivy League came out, put up a good showing. Unfortunately, they have lost Silent Brick, that Raven going down, and the other Raven already starting to take shield damage. Looks like we've got some smart bombs on the Cult of War Vulture. Wait, is that the Vulture?
I just saw smart bombs coming off of the remaining Ivy League Raven of Uber Kato. It looks like he just smart bombed all the drones off of him. Hopefully there weren't any shield rep drones there, or he'll regret that move. I don't think there were. He's now approaching about 50% shields. So again, you know, the combined damage from that Cult of War team and their coordination, I think, is just going to prove to be too much. Ivy League, always fan favorites, always one of my favorites. I always like to see them do well, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen for them in this match.
Well, and they definitely have some good pilots. A lot of their instructors are, you know, great people. We've had a few members of Vito who have come from Ivy League, and also members of Vito who have gone to Ivy League and actually taught classes and things there. Uber Kato from Ivy League now hitting about 10% shield, still holding on pretty well. Looks like he's repping up and receiving some shield love, but I don't think he's going to be able to sustain it under the DPS of those golems.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But even once this Raven goes down, there is going to be a little bit of a fight for Cult of War to beat down the tanks on the remaining ships, because they are no slouches. Looks like you still got the 2 Drakes and the Vulture, so it's going to be a little bit before this match is officially over. But for all intents and purposes, it is in fact over. You've got one of the golems has taken just a sliver of shield damage, and actually, well, he's taking a little bit more now, but I think he's going to pull out as this Raven now of Uber Kato is at almost 50% armor. He'll be going down in the next couple of volleys, and that'll definitely be all she wrote for Ivy League.
That looks like it is going to be it. That Vulture and those 2 Drakes are not going to be able to put out enough DPS. Now, I do stand corrected in terms of the shield resists of the Widow. It actually doesn't receive them. The bonus is actually to the armor for the Tech 2. It's not a percentage based, it's just built into the ship. So not quite as heavy a tank on the Widows. They probably should have primaried the Widows, Ivy League that is, gone after the Widows first, depending on whether they can even get locks, because it still does receive the jamming bonus from its Tech 1 hull.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I was just about to add in was, you know, provided that anything on the Ivy League team could lock each other, that may be why we didn't see as much help going to the other ships as maybe we could have. It's entirely possible that with just 3 ships left and with both Widows still up, the Ivy League may not have any locks at all right now, and they might just be relying on FOFs. I can't really tell. It looks like the Golem is healed completely back. First Drake for Ivy League now. He's approaching 50%. He'll be in peak recharge very soon.
Now, wouldn't it be great to see someone with some smart bombs just motor right into that pack of Cult of War, or even better, like an ECM burst? That would really, really affect them, because they are just sitting right up next to each other and just spamming those energy transfers. So close, in fact, that the animation looks kind of like a big yellow pizza.
Yeah, it reminds me of what we saw in the last tournament with the AAA rocks sitting right next to each other and Cap transferring away. It appears to be a very similar philosophy. Of course, Cult of War didn't have a disconnect at the beginning of the match, so their strategy might actually work, and look like it is working to great effect in this match at least. But it is, Caldari ships, despite missiles not using capacitor, Caldari ships can be very, very cap intensive. So anytime you can boost that capability, you're going to do well. That first Drake now just about to enter armor.
Well, and the good news about the capacitors, I expect that at this level, even Ivy League is fielding, if not all level 5 characters, very, very close. Certainly they all have their core capacitor skills trained up and have that very shiny new certificate to prove it. and that Drake is hitting low armor and is about to hit structure. I think that is definitely going to be it for Ivy League. If it wasn't before, losing that Drake, as they just have, is half their DPS at that point. The Vulture, great for giving out bonuses, command ship bonuses and resists, not so great for dealing damage.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It doesn't have the missile bonuses of a lot of other Caldari ships. It is not going to do a ton to take out anything bigger than. It's decent for anti-support roles at times, but in this case, it's not going to do them a lot of good. There does appear to be some damage now onto one of the Widows, but it's far too little, far too late. And as the second Drake now rapidly approaching 50% shields, and I'm just a little floored that we keep seeing Drakes brought to this tournament. Am I missing something here, Rias? Is there a reason that you bring a Drake to the Alliance tournament?
If you want to lose, probably. I can see the appeal. Huge passive tank, really high efficiency in terms of remote repairing it. You do have a spare slot for a medium energy transfer or a medium shield transfer, and your DPS can, hit for the same amount at 10 meters as it can hit at the same amount at 100 meters. I can see the appeal, but I just don't see the effect. The Drake is actually one of the most common targets that we in Vito run across, and Ivy League losing their final Drake down to just the Vulture now.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me with seeing all these Drakes is especially since Tier 1 battle cruisers are so cheap in this tournament. If you're insisting on taking Caldari battle cruisers, be a little creative. Take some blaster Feroxes. I'm sure Kill 2 could tell us all about bringing Feroxes to the Alliance tournament and how awesome it would be if all the Drakes were replaced with Feroxes plus a couple extra ships that you could buy with the leftover points. I honestly, in this tournament, I don't think we'll see as many of the Tier 2 battle cruisers, barring Drakes, evidently. But I'm really excited to see more of the Tier 1 stuff running out there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. As the Ivy League, Steve Fire, about 50% shields, there's just no hope for him at this point. The interesting thing is I actually like the Ferox model more than I like the Drake model. It's just a really great looking ship, and a micro-warp driving blaster Ferox is definitely something to fear. Just like any other Caldari ship, people are expecting massive EHP tanks, so they're expecting tons of shields, and boy are they shocked when all of a sudden they see one motoring at them at about 1,000 meters a second, getting into range, and then all of a sudden doing 600 DPS.
Yeah, and like I said, I would very much like to see that happen. So now that Vulture almost out of shields, he's past peak recharge, so he's done for. We don't have any time warnings in local, so they're going to have plenty of time to pick him apart at their leisure. And unfortunately, Ivy League brought a setup other than the Drakes didn't look too bad. The double Raven setup we've seen before, and there is some merit to it. Really, Cult of War is fielding a variant sort of a double Raven setup with the two golems. So. Unfortunately, Ivy League, they still have a chance to get to the finals if they mop up with their next opponents, but unfortunately they will be dropping this match. And that Vulture now in armor, and this one is just about done.
And since looks like I'm going to be able to get the last word in, today's word is motoring, brought to you by the letters M and our sponsors here at Eve TV. So that's all for Ivy League. I think we're going to go ahead and hand this back to Soundwave in the studio.